What is it like being a Dane living in Jamaica? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, founder of Jamaicans.com, and today I talk to Gigi, a Dane living in Jamaica. Hi, Gigi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Yes, great, great, great. So, where in Denmark are you from?
Originally, I'm from a small fisherman country up in the north of Denmark called Gilleleje. But I lived all over Denmark, but mostly in Copenhagen.
Okay, Copenhagen, I believe, is a capital, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit and some of the fond memories from the town, the small town you lived in.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's a small fisherman town, and it's basically a place where you have a lot of people coming in the summertime, and then in the wintertime, it's very few people. And it feels a little bit like Jamaica when it's like tourist season, you will see people everywhere, and then off season you won't see that many people. It's more local, and people get to interact more with each other, and not so much with people coming from outside.
Nice, nice. So tell us, how did you end up living in Jamaica? Tell us that story.
Yes, my mom, she played reggae music for me and my sister when we were growing up. So for some reason that just like meant a lot for me.
So
And
so so I gotta know, what songs did she play? Before you finish, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what songs did she play?
that's okay. A lot of Bob Marley. She was a big Bob Marley fan, but it was all like foundational reggae. It was Jimmy Cliff and Morgan Heritage and like all like yeah, Dennis Brown, all the foundation of reggae.
Okay, all right. So I interrupted. You were telling us your mom played it, and you were telling us the story of how you ended up living in Jamaica.
Right. So I had this fascination about Jamaica. In school, I would write about Jamaica. If we were like crafting a doll from a specific country and culture, and I would choose Jamaica. And when I got older, I got more and more into the reggae music until in my start 20s when I started to put on shows. And I started with like clubs and smaller like concerts building up to doing festivals. And I did a reggae festival in Sweden for 10 years called Öland Roots, together with like a community of other people. But it's been such a like huge part of my life, and I started to meet a lot of Jamaicans and a lot of artists and bookers and managers and just like really cool people. So at some point I then thought, okay, I have to visit Jamaica. And when I came here the first time, I was like, I'm not going home. And then I spent like 2 years traveling back and forth from different places in the world where I was living at in around that time. I was living in Canada for a while, in the US for a while, and then of course Denmark. And I would every time I had like a little bit of vacation, I would go to Jamaica, just research, meet people, enjoy the culture, and just prepare myself to move.
Nice. So I know you've moved. You've actually started you have a business there. You want to tell us about that business, a little bit about it?
Yeah. So when I moved here the first time, I thought, okay, how can I utilize my skills? And I have a master's degree in product design, and I was doing a lot of textile design at that point. And I thought, okay, there's nobody doing merchandise for the reggae festivals in the world, so why not try go into that business? So I did a whole line of products. I started working together with two festivals, and then COVID hit and canceled out all the festivals. And I had to start to be a bit more creative with how am I going to make money? How am I spending my time? And that's when I started documenting Jamaica. And I started just like from my like tourist kind of view, like what I thought was beautiful and fascinating. I would just put out like videos, photos. Like at that time, it was photos mostly, but it like turned into videos gradually. And everybody loved it. And especially in that time when people couldn't travel, they
Right,
would go
right.
on Instagram and scroll and like and see other countries and really experience. And then especially Jamaicans living abroad who miss Jamaica, and they would be as fascinated as me over the things that they miss. They're like, oh, like usually when I live in Jamaica, I wouldn't look twice on this, but when you're showing me that, I'm really appreciating that. And that it gave me such a boost of confidence and such a happy feeling to be able to share that for people who weren't able to be here. And
Nice.
then it just grew and took off.
So where could people find Streets of Jamaica?
On all social media platforms, mostly on Instagram, which was the app I started with.
Right.
Um, I'm trying to be as active as on TikTok, but TikTok is just a different thing for me. I'm not really so,
Fast paced, fast paced.
yeah. And then, like funny enough, I was posting cross posting for to Facebook for a while, and I had a lot of followers on Instagram and a lot of traffic and engagement. I never looked at my page on Facebook until one day I looked and I saw like a million comments and notifications. And I see I have like a whole community over like 140,000 people on Facebook having their whole own little thing like without me knowing, which was so amazing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what do you love the most about Jamaica?
Definitely the culture. The culture is so unique, and you can see it in the world because every other culture, every other newer culture is influenced by Jamaica. It's such a powerful little island with so much feel and so much passion and so much talent that it just like spread all over the world. It's such a small island and it has such a major impact on the world. That's yeah, the best thing.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
So you're living there, and you're living in Jamaica. What's the thing that you like the least?
Ah, right. I mean, there's multiple parts of that. Like one is that the like the amount of like time you have to kind of spend getting things done.
Bank lines, bank time,
Yes.
filling out forms, and
Right. And then there's not the same like feeling of accountability. And so if you are in a line of work and something doesn't work out, Jamaicans can be very fast to just like burn the bridges because they don't want to like rectify or they don't want to take responsibility.
all
Like
right.
some there's a lot of really great people you can work with, but
No, I understand.
yeah.
So, since you've been living there, what would you say has been your favorite experience just being on the island? Favorite.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of really great memories for like concerts, and especially because you're in Jamaica, and especially around this time now, there's a trend of like these micro concerts where you have the artist for yourself. Basically, you have maybe like 100 people watching like a huge artist, and that's very special, and that's only in Jamaica you can kind of get that feeling. In Europe you will be like one out of many thousands like for the bigger concerts. But I think one of the things I love the most is just traveling in the rural areas, like taking my car and driving up Blue Mountains and meeting locals, and like people are just so calm and like they're curious and sweet, and like you can stay in people's yard, they will feed you, they will make sure you're all right and not ask for anything in return.
Okay.
And that's the beautiful, yeah, such a beautiful part.
So, have you come upon any experiences you had where there was a cultural difference that caused some confusion for you? Maybe something you do in Denmark that, you know, in Jamaica, it's like, oh, this is how Jamaicans do this.
Yeah, I mean there's multiple parts of that. There's a lot of things that are very different. And one thing I had to really get used to is the way like most Jamaicans are talking about themselves is not always the truth. It can be the truth, but they might like not say the whole thing, and it's like they want to put up a certain image of themselves to get a certain type of opportunity or to be looked at in a certain way to get the call if somebody needs something. And in Denmark you speak your mind, and even if I'm sleeping on the couch in my friend's like studio, I would say that because everybody is more on the same level. In
Okay.
Jamaica, if you do that, you are not telling people. Like you would like pretend like you have a house or pretend like your life is in order to be able to get even thought about if people are needing somebody for a certain type of work. So yeah, I don't know the word for it, but like yeah,
All right. All right. I hear you. Um, so what's one of the funniest experiences?
I can't put my finger exactly on the most funny experience, but I have like people that I meet when I'm traveling around and doing content. I meet a lot of very eccentric people that are so full of happiness and joy and maybe even like other feelings, but everything like in big amounts. And it's like sometimes you will hear people say Jamaica is not a real place, and that's how it feels sometimes, when you meet people and you're like, this cannot be real. Just the other day I saw like a tractor driving, a guy in a tractor, and he had a pair of underwear on his head, like female underwear, and every other man, they were like shouting to him, what are you doing, why do you have that on? And he's like, the tag is still on, it's fresh, like, but why, I don't know. It was just I don't know. um
So food.
yes.
What is your favorite Jamaican food?
I have to make tell a little story like to build up to that, because I used to be vegan. I was vegan for over 6 years. And I came to Jamaica and I love the ITIL food. I love the raw ITIL food. I love like the Rasta food with no salt, no sugar. I love like the vegetarian food that people offer as well. But I always felt like I was missing out on the culture because Jamaica is so food based. Like you cannot visit somebody without them having like a full spread of food on the table. Like for holidays, you will have so much food on the table and most of it is meat based. So I started eating fish, and then I started eating chicken, and then I had to try everything else because I couldn't not.
So
And
it started with the fish and chicken, and then you
yeah,
had goat.
yeah, exactly. And like curry dishes are probably my favorites. I really love akin saltfish and curry goat, curry chicken, of course patties. But I don't cook meat at my house. I still like fully vegan at home. But if I go for a Christmas dinner at a friend's house, I will eat the food.
All right. So I also hear a little bit of the Jamaican language starting to rub off on you
Yes,
there.
yes. I can go fully patois, especially when I'm in a situation where it's needed. But just naturally being here, like even my accent change, even though I still have like the Danish accent, I can sometimes have like the Upper St. Andrew accent, or just like
Wait, 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 wait. The Upper St. Andrew accent? Really? So, is there a Jamaican expression that you find yourself either thinking it or no saying it?
it's a bad word.
All right.
It's a bad
Can you
word.
give us the initials of the
It's,
word, or you
uh,
don't want to say? You prefer not to say?
ECL, I think, like the short for it. So,
Okay.
and it just comes completely automatically, especially like driving something like unexpected happened. I would just blur it out. And like in the beginning, it might have sounded a bit more foreign, which like everybody around me thought was very funny. But I feel like the accent has changed a little bit. So, so now people are saying, "Oh, you're Jamaican."
So, is there a place in Jamaica that you absolutely love to go to?
Any river, like
Okay.
any river, any day. Of course, if it's not too polluted or too much trash. I always like that's another issue that is kind of hard, but also I hope like future would change a little bit, like of like there's a lot of trash in the rivers, and so I always bring like a plastic bag, so any river I visit I want to visit again because then I know there's less trash.
I see.
But yeah.
When you leave Jamaica, what do you miss about it's like it's home, but what do you miss? So you leave for a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you miss?
So especially being from Denmark, where we spend most of the time indoors, especially because of the weather, especially in the colder month, you don't sit on the roadside and communicate or talk to people. It's very like if I go outside, I will go out in my little bubble, do my stuff, and then come home. Where in Jamaica, everybody's talking to each other. There's always like a little back and forth, and sometimes it can be like an annoying back and forth or like a bit so sexual back and forth. But there's always like a little banter between people when they go outside. And then you can just like if you want to socialize, you just go in the corner and you sit down, and then things happen. It's like it's a warm country. We like just yeah, cultural and the people and like the climate is warm.
All right. So, what advice would you give an expat who's thinking of moving to Jamaica?
Right. So like I want to give an advice to an expat that is not originally Jamaican or have Jamaican roots. I think one of the most important things moving to a developing country is to move with the mindset of bringing something to the country, to uplift the country in some way, and not to say, oh, there's an opportunity for me to make a lot of money off this and that. And it has to, of course, there has to be a balance. You have to make money to stay a place, but you have to support back the country, especially a country like Jamaica, where basically it's like most people say Jamaica is for sale, and it is. Like any foreigner can come buy a big piece of land or create big business without really supporting back Jamaica. And I think it's a as a foreigner coming to Jamaica, it's your responsibility to be a positive impact in where you're going. And of course, that's anywhere you move in the world, but especially a developing country.
Nice. I see the speakers behind you, and the kind of the setup behind you. So, is
Yes.
there some musical things in the future as we close out? Any musical things coming in the future? Because you said you used to do promotion in
Yeah.
Denmark, and
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to start a little bit to go into the music industry, entertainment in general, but how I want to do it is mostly doing visualizers for music. So that can be everything from animation to photography or videography, which is what I found out is my passion. And to document, like even like to document Jamaica, to document culture. But yeah, I'm gonna go into a bit more music video or documentaries. Um,
okay,
yeah, not so much event planning. I think it can be it's very risky anyway you do events, but especially in Jamaica, it can be like the weather,
right.
the people, the artist, the crowd, like everything is like whew, it's you have to like that kind of excitement to go into that.
Well, Gigi, thank you for telling up your story of moving from Denmark to
Yeah.
Jamaica. Wish you
Yes.
all the best. Now, what's your favorite way of saying goodbye in Jamaican?
Um, like
I could
usually I
do,
would
I could do mine. I
say
could
yeah.
do mine is lick more.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. I think what I use more is later
All right,
because it
all right.
doesn't
We
it
can
doesn't close it.
we can merge that. We can
Yeah.
say lick more later.
Yes. More later.
Take care, Gigi.
Thank you so much.